कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे तु जनकात्मज पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Excellent work. Now let us get started with our story session of the segment. First, let's do a quick recap of what we have heard the previous week in session 19. So Hanuman, he was able to cross the ocean and step into the city, great city of Lanka. And he crossed the fort and he entered into the city. He went round and round in the city, searched each palace, each house, and finally he went into the royal palace, which is guarded heavily by all the cavalries, the archers, the elephants, everybody, soldiers, heavily guarded. But Hanuman, he disguised himself and he entered into the palace. He looked in each and every room. He was able to see Ravana sleeping on his very lavish bed, and he was able to see Mandodari, who was the wife of Ravana, and he was able to see other palace women who were there, but he was not able to make out who Sita Devi was in that group because he never saw Sita Devi before. Then he imagined Sita Devi would never stay in the palace. She would be leading a very, very simple life somewhere outside. So he started searching outside of the city, and then he got little down and he was very disappointed with himself. He was very, very discouraged with his effort. Then he closed his eyes and he prayed to Rama, Sita Devi and Lakshmana again to give him the strength. So we talked about everybody going through that phase where there will be failures, there will be some disappointments there, where sometimes we all feel like we are not up to the challenge. There will be times where the task will seem like a big mountain and we seem like we are not able to climb that mountain. And remember, we are not alone. It's not just for us. Everybody goes through that. Even gods, even Hanuman, who has all the strengths, all the powers, all the boons from all the gods, even he felt a little distress. He felt disappointed with his work. But quickly he came out of it. He prayed to Rama, Lakshmana and Sita Devi for the strength, for the wisdom that is needed to progress in his tasks. And he got that idea immediately. He said, there is one Ashoka Vanam. There is one garden, very, very prestigious and very beautiful garden. That is one place that I didn't look and search for Sita Devi. So let me go there and search. And as he imagined, he found a distressed, very sad, lonely woman with very plain clothes and who seemed like who hasn't had anything to eat for a lot of days, who hasn't had good rest and sleep for a lot of days, who was crying for days and days. He saw her under a tree and he immediately suspected that that would be Sita Devi. Then he waited and to confirm his doubt. So as he imagined, Ravana came early in the morning and he threatened her to become his queen and to marry him. And Hanuman then confirmed his suspicion that that is Sita Devi indeed. So Ravana, he gave Sita Devi 1 year time to oblige to his command to marry him and to become his queen. And he left from the garden, and Sita Devi was surrounded by very, very cruel, hideous demons, and they all tried to threaten her to give in to the request of Ravana. But Sita Devi, she was very strong. She did not flinch by their threats. And meanwhile, there is one demoness who came, Trijata. She warded off everybody from there and said, do not mess with this lady. I just had a dream that somebody very, very, very powerful monkey is going to come to Lanka, and he is going to bring down the city of Lanka. And Rama, he's going to come on a white elephant like Indra himself, and he's going to take her back. So if you guys like to be alive, if you guys like to live, leave her alone and don't bother her. So Sita Devi, she was very, very upset that imagine how much she must be missing Rama, right? So as she was lonely and as she was upset about things and as she was thinking about what to do, Hanuman, he slowly came down that tree. He started chanting the song of Rama, and he came near Sita Devi, and he explained himself to him, who he was and how he came by the orders of Sugriva, and he showed the token given by Rama. Remember, Rama gave a ring only to Hanuman. Thousands and thousands of monkeys went all around the world to search for Sita Devi, but one warrior, one who is wise, one who is strong, one who is sonic speed, one who has all the powers, only he was the trusted one. He got the ring because Rama, inside, he knew that Hanuman will be the one who will find Sita Devi. So Hanuman, he took out that ring given by Rama and he gave it to Sita Devi. Sita Devi was very, very happy. She found solace, she found comfort that Rama will come soon and he will rescue her from there. So after Sita Devi told Hanuman what to do and give her message to Rama of how she is doing and what she is going to do, Hanuman took leave from Sita Devi and he started his way back to Kishkinda. Then he thought, okay, how about I stop by to give my advice to Ravana? Because before, if you see the difference between what Hanuman did before and what he is doing after, you will see the difference. When he came to Lanka, he came in disguise. He came in the size of a small cat. He was in disguise. He was playing hide and seek, basically. He didn't want anybody to see him. He didn't want anybody to find him. But after the darshan of Sita Devi is goddess Durga, goddess Parvati, goddess Lakshmi Devi. She is the strength, she is the power herself, right? So Hanuman now got her darshan. So now he's saying, I don't have to hide anymore. I'm not going to hide. I'm going to announce myself. I'm going to challenge Ravana and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. I'm going to tell him what is right. I'm going to tell him what is wrong. And then I'm going to make my way out of Lanka. You see the difference in confidence when he came to Lanka and after seeing Sita Devi, what Hanuman is. So that transformation is given by God, even to gods. So Hanuman himself, he is so powerful, but see the transformation before getting the darshan of Sita Devi and after getting the darshan of Sita Devi. So Hanuman, then we talked about this very, very, very powerful stotram from the integral part of Valmiki Ramayanam. It is very strong mantram. It is called Jayamantram, which means victory mantram. So he chanted that and he challenged the entire city of Lanka. He said, I am the servant of Rama. I am the minister of Sugriva. I am praying to Rama, Lakshmana and Sita Devi. I came into the city of Lanka unchallenged. I came and completed my mission, which is to see Sita Devi and give my message. And I'm going to go back untouched again, undefeated. So if there is anybody warrior enough to stop me, challenge me now. And then he said that and he started creating destruction in the Ashoka garden. So that is where we stopped our session last week. We concluded with that great stotram and with the great transformation of Hanuman and his confidence. So we are going to continue our session from there. So before we start the session, anybody have any questions? All right. So Hanuman, he got the confidence that he needed and he challenged the city of Lanka with that slokam, and he started creating destruction in the garden of Ashoka. So why would he do that? He is doing that to get the attention of Ravana. So as soon as everybody saw that there is this monkey who became really big, and then he is taking out all the boulders, all the rocks from its place, and all the trees, he is uprooting big trees just with his bare hands, and he's throwing them around. There are lots of gazebos and there is lots of construction around to make it beautiful, fountains, water places, ponds. There's so much beauty in that garden, and he's going to each of these places. He is pulling down those constructions. He's throwing big rocks into the ponds. He is creating destruction in the beloved park garden of Ravana. So as Hanuman suspected, immediately the soldiers and the messengers from the Ashoka garden, they went and they complained to Ravana. So Akshara, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. I have two questions. The first question is, how small can Hanuman be?
He can be as small as a fly, and he can be as big as a mountain. So that is one of the boons that he got. So imagine, when you're praying to him, he is in your heart, and the size of a small spark. That is Hanuman. And he can be as big as a monkey, as big as a mountain when he's fighting the demons. That is his capacity. And he can be anywhere, because he is the son of wind, son of air. Air is everywhere, right? So can he.
Okay, sir.
The second question?
Sir, the second question was how big can Hanuman?
Mountain. You can imagine how big, your imagination is the barrier here. How big can you imagine him?
Sir, he can be bigger than a mountain.
There you go. That's it. So that is his capability, that is his capacity, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So then he started creating that destruction, and he got his wish fulfilled by the messengers. So they immediately ran back to Ravana and they complained about Hanuman. Sir, somebody came to Ashoka garden. We saw him talking to Sita Devi. But first we didn't suspect anything because he was a little monkey. We just thought the monkey was playing around and we didn't have any doubts then. But after talking to Sita Devi, he's going around the garden. He's growing in different sizes and he's causing destruction in the garden. So Ravana, he immediately got very angry, and he got up from his throne because he cannot tolerate anybody talking to Sita Devi. So he is very possessive about the fact that Sita Devi has to be his queen, right? So that is the demon mentality of Ravana. So he himself can go into the forest in disguise, with the deceit of Maricha and bring somebody's wife to his city, but nobody else is allowed to go and talk to Sita Devi. You see the monstrous mind that is the Ravana, right? So he immediately commanded his army called Kinkaras, 80,000 of them. One monkey versus 80,000 kinkaras. He called them and he said, go surround the entire garden and bring him back to me alive. Chain him, tie his legs, tie his hands, and bring him back to me right now. So you see how much of outrage, how much of anger Ravana has. Because if it is one monkey, what he should do, he should call 5 or 6 sentries. He should be like, okay, go take a net and bring him back to me, right? But look at the anger that he is having inside his heart. So he sent 80,000. 80,000 means, for your imagination, it is like a small town. The population of a small town. So he sent that big army against Hanuman, and they immediately followed the orders of Ravana and they marched to Ashoka garden. So they surrounded him from around the garden and they started attacking him using arrows, using maces, using crowbars, whatever weapons that they have. So Hanuman, he already prayed to Rama, Lakshmana and Sita Devi. He's ready for this battle. He wants this. He wanted the attention of Ravana. And how can he get the attention of Ravana? Subsiding all his armies and ministers, he has to go to the ultimate king there. He doesn't want to talk to all these servants. So he immediately, so to give you what must have happened there, so imagine a tornado. So you must have seen the tornado in TVs and all, where you just see a whirl of wind picking up all the dust and going around the place. You can hardly see what it is picking up and what is inside that whirlwind, right? So Hanuman, he went with that kind of speed. So they are able to see that something is moving around them with great speed, but they're not able to comprehend where he is. They're trying to attack him with his weapons, with their weapons, but he's too fast. They're throwing somewhere and he's already moved past that place, like, seconds after the weapon is going there, right? So he's so fast, he's going like a whirlwind around the entire 80,000 kinkaras within minutes. He killed them all and everybody fell down with their weapons on the ground and they're not able to speak, they're bleeding, they're lost their different parts, limbs, and they were just on the ground, 80,000 of them within minutes. So just like a whirlwind, if anybody was sitting outside and just watching this, they're not able to see that somebody is lifting their hand, punching the face, or lifting the tail and hitting them with the tail, nothing at all. So he just went like a whirlwind around the entire troops. He picked them up into that wind and he crushed them. 80,000 of them. Akshara, you have another question?
Yes, sir. My question is, sir, does Hanuman really have a green skin?
No, this is representing by the artist as a green. In Hanuman Chalisa and in all the other slokas from Valmiki, he is known to have like a golden yellow colorish skin, gold, like, when you look at the sun at like around 10 o'clock, the shining yellow color that you see, that is his complexion actually. Okay. So does Lakshmana. Lakshmana also looks like that. He has that shining golden color yellowish complexion. Okay, so you can imagine that way. It is all in your imagination, Akshaya. It is how you imagine him, that is how he will be present to you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so in minutes he was able to defeat the entire army of Kinkaras, 80,000 of them. And whoever is left, they ran back to Ravana and they told, this is not a normal monkey. You have to up the game. He killed all your armies within minutes and nobody is left there. So now the Ashoka garden, whatever you like the best place to be, that place is like a battleground, except only that there is no opponent there fallen down. It is all your armies that are fallen down. So you can imagine how furious Ravana must be then. He immediately called Jambumali, one of his subordinate generals, army generals. He is huge, like he is the size of a big mountain. He is very ferocious. He has like muscle power to uproot big trees and mountains. He called him and he said, take your armies and bring him back. So Jambumali, he marched into the Ashoka garden, and same thing repeated again. He did not flinch. He fought against Jambumali. He threw punches around and Jambumali fell down in that fight and he couldn't get up after that. So then the news went back to Ravana. Now he called upon his chief of army, Prahasta. His chief of army is called Prahasta. You can imagine if he's Ravana's chief of army, how strong he must be. So he said, your sons, there are 7 of them, and all of them are uniquely talented in battlefield. One is an expert in archery, one is expert in wrestling. They are all experts in battleground. Send all of them together with their armies. Bring him back. So Prahasta's sons, 7 of them, the subordinate generals, they also went with their armies. Again, same battle. See, Hanuman again, he's one monkey sitting in the Ashoka garden, and they're taking turns. Troops are coming one after the other. So he must need a timeout. He must need a water break. He must need some Gatorade. He must need a power bar, something, right? Nothing. If you see the story, from the time he came to Lanka, or not even from the time he started from the other side of the ocean, the mountain Mainaka, he lifted himself up and offered fruits and honey and some water. Hanuman said, no, I'm not going to take a break. I'm on a mission. I do not stop in the middle of my missions. So he did not take a water break or a timeout since then. And now he's fighting these enormous armies one after the other. No water breaks, no timeouts. That is the strength of Hanuman. There is no stopping. Unstoppable, undefeated, right? So Prahasta's sons, 7 of them with their armies, they came and they experienced the same fate. The whirlwind, he went around, he destroyed their chariots. He made them into solid powder. They can't even make out of what is the chariot. He immediately picked them up. He punched them around. He threw rocks and he threw big trees at them and their armies, and all of them were defeated in no time. So 3 sets of armies are done, right? Akshara, you have another question?
Yes, sir. What are chariots?
So chariots are what, there's 2 or 3 horses in front, and there is like a carriage in the back. So big warriors who are not the warrior soldiers who go on the horses, they sit on those chariots, on the carriage in the back. So these are like seniors in the army. They are experts in archery, they are experts in wrestling, they are experts with maces, they are experts with crowbars. So they need all those weapons, right? If they go on a horse, there is not much space to keep all of that stuff. So these warriors, they go on a chariot driven by horses with a carriage in the back, and they keep all their weapons in that carriage along with themselves. So those are called chariots.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So he destroyed all of them, and then again the news went back to Ravana. So now he called his youngest son. His name is called Akshakumara. He called him, and again he's a very young fellow. He's like 14 to 16 years old. He's a young fellow, but he's very strong. He participated in many battles, even with the gods, and he won those battles, and he has boons from many gods. He has lots and lots of weaponry. So Ravana was very confident that Akshakumara will complete the job. So he called Akshakumara and he blessed him, and he said, Aksha, it is your duty now to go defeat Hanuman, or he didn't know the name yet, right? So defeat whoever is destroying the garden. Take all the armies that you need. Take any generals that you need. Take any weapons that you need. But get the job done. Bring him back alive to me. I want to talk to him. I want to speak to him. So Akshakumara, he took the blessings of Ravana, and he went to Ashoka garden to battle the fight, right? So he went with all his armies. So again, Hanuman put up a great fight. He tackled all his armies. He killed them with the trees. He killed them with his powerful punches, powerful kicks. And he went around real fast, and he cleared all of the armies that Akshakumara came with. And then he started battling Akshakumara. So to your question, Akshaya, so see the carriage in the back in this picture? That is the chariot where the warrior is standing. So the carriage is carried forward by lions in some cases, by horses in some cases, by elephants in some cases. So in this case, Akshakumara, he is riding a chariot which is gold, filled with gold. Beautiful horses, many horses are carrying them. And he is an expert archer. He is an expert in combat, different kinds of combat. So he started fighting ferocious battle with Hanuman. So Hanuman, he finally realized that Akshakumara is as fast or very capable of matching his speed. So he's trying to dodge his the weapons that Akshakumara is throwing, the arrows that Akshakumara is releasing. He's going up in the air, jumping from side to side, moving from tree to tree, and finally he jumped all the way up to the air, into the sky, and then he came down with sonic speed and he fell on the chariot of Akshakumara. So as soon as he fell on the chariot, for the speed and for the weight of Hanuman, the chariot broke into multiple pieces. So Akshakumara, he fell on the ground. He still had his bow and arrow. He started trying to shoot Hanuman with his arrows. But Hanuman, he's jumping from side to side, jumping from tree to tree. He's dodging all the weapons that Akshakumara is throwing at him. He came at him with super speed and he threw a punch on his face. Akshakumara, he then fell on the ground. So then Hanuman caught him with his two hands and he started going around, swirling around, round and round and round. So it is like a merry-go-round. Hanuman in the center and Akshakumara going round and round and round. It's like Hanuman is taking Akshakumara on a merry-go-round. So if you guys have played this game called Ringa Ringa Roses, where you hold hands and you go round and round and round and then you fall down, right? So that is what Hanuman is doing, except Akshakumara has no say or participation in this. He is just going at a supersonic speed. Again, imagine a whirlwind, a tornado. You can only see the wind and the dust being collected by that speed, by that velocity, but nothing else. So for that speed and for that strength, Akshakumara he could not handle, and as described in Valmiki Ramayanam, his limbs started to fall out because of that speed. So as the speed went faster and faster and faster, his legs came out of his body, his torso came out of his body, and then his head came out of his body. And Hanuman, when he stopped, he just had his two hands left in his hands because he was holding Akshakumara by his hands, right? So he went round and round, all the body parts came out because of the speed and the velocity. And when he stopped, he just had Akshakumara's hands in his hands. That is the speed with which he went around. Then he tossed those two hands also to the side. And then he just stood there with a smile on his face about his victory. But he did have an appreciation for the warrior that Akshakumara was. But whatever the battle rules are, you just have to tackle your opponent with that great speed and ferocity, and that's what Hanuman has done, right? So then the news went back to Ravana. This time it is personal for him. Akshakumara is his own son, right? So he was filled with not only anger, but also sadness, sorrow, all kinds of emotions rushing him, and immediately he called Indrajit. Indrajit is his elder son. His original name is Meghnath. He is named Indrajit because he defeated Indra, who is the king of gods, in many battles. So it's his title. It's not his name. He got himself a title called Indrajit, who is the defeater of Indra. So he is very, 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 very powerful. He got boons from Brahma himself, and he was undefeated. Nobody was able to defeat him. And as we go into Yuddhakanda, which is the battle episode of Ramayanam, you will see that Indrajit poses a bigger risk and bigger threat to the armies of Rama more than Ravana himself. That is the kind of warrior Indrajit is, and that is the kind of warrior Indrajit can be. So again, his chariot, he got the chariot as a boon from Brahma himself, undefeated, and he is not only a great warrior with combat skills, he is also a great magician. So he doesn't use all plain tactics, battle tactics to fight his enemies. He disguises himself. He vanishes from the battlefield. He hides in the clouds and he throws from the dark. He surrounds his enemies from different sides. He can take different forms. So there is many capabilities of Indrajit which are not taught in the normal battle combat lessons, right? So Indrajit, he was called, and then Ravana briefed him saying, this is what happened. And not only he defeated our armies, he killed your brother. So I want you to go with utmost force. Do not take it easy. I want you to bring him back alive. So Indrajit, he went, and then he went to the Ashoka garden along with his armies and along with all his weapons and all his arrows, bows, and everything, all of whatever equipment he needed. And then he stood in front of the Hanuman in the Ashoka garden. He saw the destruction that he has caused, and he was very ferocious and angry. And again, his chariot itself is very scary. His chariot is driven by a team of lions, and it is golden filled, and it is filled with all kinds of weaponry that is known to all the warriors at that time. And he is an expert of using any of those weapons. So he did not take it easy. He did not start low. He did not start with small weapons. He took out the best and the most powerful weapon that he had, which is called Brahmastra. We talked about astras and sastras, right? Sastras are the physical weaponry, like your sword or a mace or a crowbar or just a plain arrow. But astras, they are powerful weapons which can become into missiles, which can take different forms, and which can attack the enemies in different forms, right? So he took out Brahmastra. Brahmastra is the weapon created by Lord Brahma himself, and it is very strong. It is known to be the ultimate weapon. There is nothing superior to Brahmastra, is not what is known, right? So he took that out. So he is using the best weapon in the first shot itself. So he then aimed it at Hanuman, and he released Brahmastra at Hanuman. So if you remember, in the beginning when Hanuman was born, and when he went to the skies thinking that Surya Bhagavan, sun god, is a fruit, and when he tried to eat sun god, so Indra, he threw the weapon Vajrayudham at him, and he fell down. And the air god, he was very upset at Indra. He seized all the air from the worlds, and he sat in a cave along with Hanuman, who was hurt then, right? So Brahma along with all the gods came, and they gave lots and lots of boons to Brahma. All of them, they said, you're going to be Chiranjeevi meaning immortal. You're never going to be defeated, you're never going to die, and none of our weapons, Brahmastra by Brahma, Trishulam, which is Shiva's weapon, Vajrayudham, which is Indra's weapon, Varunapasam, which is water god's weapon, none of our weaponry will be able to defeat you or will be able to subdue you. He knows all that now, because Jambavan told his story to himself, to Hanuman, right? So he knows that Brahmastra is not going to attack him. He knows that Brahmastra is not going to defeat him. But Brahma is the Pitamaha. He's called the Pitamaha. He's like the grandfather of all the gods. He is the creator of the universe. He is the son of Lord Vishnu himself. There has to be some respect to Brahma and the weapon created by Brahma, right? And it is almost time that he fought the battle. Now he is reaching the top ranks of Ravana's army. So he knows that he will be directly taken to Ravana, which is his ultimate purpose. So he said, I am not going to fight Brahmastra. It is the Astra of Pitamaha, our grandfather, who is Brahma, Lord Brahma. So I am going to surrender to that weapon. So he did a namaskaram to Brahma, and he did a namaskaram to the weapon of Brahmastra, and he surrendered himself. So immediately all the armies who were there, they came and they captured Hanuman. They thought, oh, we are so strong, look what we did. So they credited themselves for that victory, even though Hanuman surrendered himself. And they took him to the court of Ravana. So let's take a quick break here. Somebody had a question. Pranavi, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. So they took him to the court of Ravana, which is actually what Hanuman wanted himself, right? So he was presented in front of the big court of Ravana. Ravana, he was sitting on the big throne, the lavish palace, the lavish court, the diamond-studded throne, and he has his 10 heads, and he looks ferocious and royal, and he is sitting on the big throne, and Hanuman was standing in front of him, and Ravana then started talking to Hanuman. He is asking all these questions. Who are you? Why did you come here? What is your purpose in Lanka? What were you talking to Sita Devi about? Tell me all these questions, the answers to all these questions, and I may spare your life. Then Hanuman, he told the purpose of his visit. He told, I am the messenger of Rama. And you've seen what kind of destruction I've caused to the city of Lanka, to your armies. And I am just one out of millions and millions and millions of soldiers like me in the army of Sugriva. If you do not return Sita Devi to Rama, all those millions and millions and crores of soldiers will come to Lanka. They will fight that battle against you. It is just not you who is going to be impacted by that battle. Your entire race, the entire clan of demons, your family, friends, ministers, armies, soldiers, horses, elephants, all your palaces, the riches, whatever you are proud about, everything will be destroyed. And I don't have to tell you about the strength of Rama and Lakshmana. You already know their strength. That is why you disguised yourself and you went like a thief when they were not around near the ashram. You know that you will never be able to face them. So you already know their strength. So add that to the millions and millions of soldiers of Sugriva, to the strength of Rama and Lakshmana, what they are going to do to your city. So if you love your life, if you like what you are, and you want it to stay that way, the best solution for you is to bring Sita Devi back in the Pushpak to Kishkinda. Ask forgiveness for Rama. I know Rama very well. What he is best at doing is not just battling. He is very good at forgiving. He will forgive you. That is my promise to you. So he gave this solid advice to Ravana, and he tried to put some wisdom and put some knowledge into his head. But Ravana, he wouldn't listen to a word that Hanuman has to say. And again, this is also, if you remember from Aranyakanda, Maricha, even though he helped Ravana with the plan, deceitful plan, before doing that, he told all of this to Ravana. He said, do not mess with Rama. He is a great warrior. Not only you, your entire clan will come down because of this greedy idea of yours. But he wouldn't listen. So as we go through the story, you will see other people also giving the same advice to Ravana. He keeps pushing them back. He keeps alienating them. He keeps disowning them because of the one greed that he has to marry somebody else's wife. His greed, his want, his wish, which is a wrongful wish, is putting so many people around him in danger for the one wrongful thought that Ravana has. Is he not educated? He is educated. He is wealthy. He is king. He knows all the Vedas, but his mind and heart are not in the right place. He is not open for a good advice. So it is very important to have that open mind for a good advice. It is very important to listen when a good advice is given and to follow that good advice. So that is what Ravana is lacking here. So even Sita Devi, when he came to talk to her, even she gave this advice. Do not do this. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy what is yours. Don't be greedy for other people's things. I am wife of Rama. You are Ravana, the king of Lanka. You should be dutiful of what you are going to do and what you have to do. Return me back to Rama and spare not only your life and everybody around you. But he wouldn't listen. So instead, he got very, very, very angry, and he ordered his men to at once kill this messenger. See, again, he's just a messenger, right? But again, the anger is so much that he is giving me advice. How dare he? He talked to Sita Devi. How dare he? So that is Ravana. That is the mind of a demon. So he immediately called his men and he ordered to kill Hanuman at once. But then Vibhishana, who is the brother, younger brother of Ravana, he stood up. He's the good guy. And we are going to listen to the story of Vibhishana and Ravana and Kumbhakarna also later episodes. But for now, we are just going to know that Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana are brothers, and Surpanaka is the sister, and Vibhishana is the good guy. He is very knowledgeable, he is very wise, and he is always following the right thing. He always follows the right thing and he always does the right thing. So he got up from his throne and he said, brother, you are doing a wrong thing. It is not right to do what you are doing. You are not supposed to kill a messenger. You can instead punish him. Whatever is his, you can punish him by putting him in the prison, or you can dismember him, one of his body parts, limbs, or you can try to punish him by taking out what is his favorite, but you are not entitled to kill a messenger. So I will recommend that you take back your orders and do the right thing. He just came here as a messenger of Rama. He gave his message. You heard his message. Do whatever it is that you want to do with the messenger, but never kill a messenger. So again, this is an advice that went into Ravana's head. So he said, okay, that is fair. I understand what you're saying. So instead of killing him, since for a monkey, his tail is the most important favorite thing, put fire on his tail and take him around the city of Lanka and show to the people of Lanka what will happen to spies in this city. Show to the people of Lanka the power of the king of Lanka. Show to the people of Lanka the power of Ravana. So this is my punishment, and you can take him out now and put rags around his tail and put fire to the tail. So that is his punishment for bringing this destruction to Lanka. So Hanuman, he gave the advice that he wanted to give to Ravana, and then he came out with the soldiers. Again, he is just surrendering to these orders. If he wanted to get out from there, he would easily do that, right? With the power and speed that he has. But what he wanted to do is pretend that he is going through the punishment that Ravana gave. But as he will go around the city of Lanka, they're going to parade him around the city of Lanka, right? It will give him an opportunity to see the entire city of Lanka, the secrets of Lanka, the passages of Lanka. What are the strong points? Where are the biggest strong points of Lanka are? Where are the forts? Where are the army houses? Where are all the weaponry? Where is everything put together? How are the streets of Lanka designed? So he will be able to go through and see, observe all the secrets of Lanka, and he'll be able to give those to Rama. So when Rama is designing the battle, when he is thinking of how to attack Lanka, he can use all those secrets of how Lanka is constructed and what the strong points are. So he can design accordingly to that. So that was the idea of Hanuman. So he gave in to that advice of the punishment of Ravana, whatever he gave. So, but he noticed that Vibhishana is really a good guy, the brother of Ravana, and he went along with the soldiers to take the punishment. So they were chanting the name of Ravana, and they put rags, oil dipped rags around the tail of Hanuman, and they put fire to the tail of Hanuman. So everybody was chanting the name of Ravana, and they were taking him around the city of Lanka on a big chariot to display the punishment given to the spy. And Hanuman, what he did, he increased the size of his tail to be really, really big. And meanwhile, the demonesses of that were guarding Sita Devi, they went to Sita Devi and they said, whoever was talking to you before, that monkey, he is getting what he deserves. What he came and what he did here is not tolerated by the king of Lanka. He gave him punishment to get his tail on fire and to take him around the city of Lanka. Then he will be imprisoned and he will get the punishment that he deserved. So Sita Devi, she felt really, really bad, and she felt sorry for Hanuman. She knows the strength of Hanuman, but immediately the mother instincts, they kick in, right? So see the relationship between Hanuman and Sita Devi, the mother and son relationship. Even though Hanuman, he's very strong, and Sita Devi knows, mother is always protective of her son. So she immediately prayed to Agni Deva. Agni Deva is a fire god. So she closed her eyes and she prayed to Agni Deva, saying, "Hey God, if I have done everything that is right, be gentle on the tail of Hanuman. Do not let your fury, do not let your heat punish him. Do not let that be painful to him. So be cool on his skin, be cool on his tail, and be very, very gentle on him." How wonderful of a prayer, right? The prayer is the best when it is done for others, right? She didn't ask for herself. She didn't say, okay, kill all the demons around me, they're bothering me. Bring Rama here and rescue me immediately. So that is the nature of mother. That is why she is all our mother, right? So she is praying for Hanuman to Lord of Fire, saying, be gentle on Hanuman. So meanwhile, in the city of Lanka, as he was going through, Hanuman realized enough is enough. I'm done with this charade. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out of these chains and the restrictions that are around me that are tying together. So he became very, very small. When he became very small, all that were tied around him, they're too big, right? So they fell down. Then he became big again. He then became very big and he started jumping from house to house, and he started lighting each of those houses in fire. So he went around the entire city, he went around the gardens, he went around all the big palaces, and he set all of those places in fire except for Vibhishana's house. So there is always yield to good deeds. So Vibhishana and Hanuman, they never met before. For the one good thing that Vibhishana has done for him, Hanuman is repaying him, saying, okay, you have done a good thing, you are always following the right path. I'm going to spare your house. Whatever it is that is in your house, your family, your friends, your possessions, let them be secure. And so he granted him that freedom, and he said, I'm going to let this go. And then, but he lit fire on everything else. And then he jumped near the ocean, and then he put his tail in the ocean, in the water, and he quenched that fire, and he stopped that fire that is lit on his tail. Because of the prayer that was done by Sita Devi, because of the strength that is Hanuman, he went to the sun god, near sun god, when he was a mere child. How hot is the sun god, right? Nothing happened to his skin, nothing happened to him. So what will this small fire do to his tail, if you think about it? Again, Hanuman is the son of air god, who is a friend of fire god. So all these things together, they're all working for the support of Hanuman. Nothing will go wrong with him, nothing will punish him, the fire will not impact him in any way, right? So Hanuman, he quenched that fire and he immediately closed his eyes. He said, oh no, I put fire in the entire city. What if that fire spread to Ashoka garden where my mother Sita Devi is sitting? Oh no, what have I done? How can I be so foolish? This is not right. So I have to go back immediately to Sita Devi and make sure that she is safe and she is doing well. So again, the son and mother relationship. As soon as Sita Devi knew that the son is in trouble, she made a prayer for him. And as soon as Hanuman had a question about whether Sita Devi is safe or not, his son instincts also kicked in. He immediately went back to his mother. He checked with her and he saw that Ashoka garden was untouched by the fire. Then everything is in place and Sita Devi is safe, and not even the heat by the blazing fires around the city, they didn't even come near Ashoka garden, and it is all same as he left before. So he was very happy. Once again, he took blessings from Sita Devi. And once again, he told that he will go back to Rama immediately, and he will give back the message to Rama immediately, and he will come back with him with the entire armies of Sita Devi, with Rama to Sita Devi. So then Sita Devi had a very interesting question. So she stopped him and said, "Hey Hanuman, you are of the strength of Garuda, who is the chariot of Lord Vishnu himself. You are like wind himself. Very few people, you, wind god, Garuda, only you guys are capable of crossing that great mighty ocean. How do you think all the other soldiers of Rama, how do you think Rama and Lakshmana himself, how do you think they will all come across that ocean? How do you think they will be able to rescue me?" The beautiful answer that Hanuman gives, one of the best verses of Sundarakanda, it shows his humility. It shows how ground to earth he is. His powers, so many he has, but his wisdom, it shows how wise he is, right? So he says, "Think of it, Ma, a mother Sita Devi, I am able to do all this only by the blessings of Rama and Lakshmana and yourself. And when a king like Rama sends a messenger to the queen or to run errands, to do some tasks, who will they send? They will send the lowest person, the sentries, the small soldiers, or somebody who can get the job done very fast. They won't send the highest ranking people to do their small tasks and errands done, right? So everybody in the army of Rama is either as equal to me in power or more. I am just a low ranking soldier in the army of Rama. That's why he sent me to run this errand and to run this message, to give this message to you. Everybody else is as strong as me or even more stronger than me. Have no doubt in this and have trust in the capability of Rama. And he will come cross the ocean and he will rescue you." So he's not saying, "Okay, I've done this. This is because of all the powers I have." You're absolutely true. I am so fast. I can fly anywhere. I can become of any size. He's not saying all this. He put all his strengths in the name of God. He's saying, "I got these strengths because of God." The same God will take care of everybody else. He will make the right thing happen. He will make sure that good will defeat evil. So that is the trust that Hanuman has, and that is the humility and the humbleness Hanuman has. One of the best attributes. We talked about many virtues that Hanuman has. This is one of the best attributes that we have to learn, understand, and incorporate in our lives. You will see so many successes. You will have so much success in your life. Always stay grounded. Always stay to your roots, and always remember that it is your parents, it is God, it is your people around you that are enabling you to that success. Always attribute to that success to others who are helping you with that success. Okay? So saying that, he went back to the ocean. Again, he easily crossed the ocean with amazing speed, and he came back to his troops who are waiting on the other side of the ocean eagerly for the news back from Hanuman. So as soon as he was approaching them, he immediately told them, "Sita Devi has been seen by me. I got the message from Sita Devi, and we can happily go back to Kishkinda and give that message to Rama." So you can imagine the happiness of the troops. They immediately celebrated. They chanted the name of Hanuman. They chanted the name of Rama, and they all went back to Kishkinda. And Hanuman, he happily gave the message to Rama. And you can imagine the happiness of Rama that Hanuman was able to find Sita Devi. Sita Devi is doing well and she is alive and she is eagerly waiting for Rama. So Hanuman, he showed the jewel that is given by Sita Devi as a token to Rama. And he gave the message of Sita Devi that she gave specifically to Rama. She said, Hanuman, Ravana put a time frame of 1 year for me to get married to him and become the queen, and there is only 3 months left, but I'm putting myself a time frame of only 1 month. If Rama doesn't come and rescue me from here for within a month, I don't know what I will do. So give this message to Rama immediately and ask him to come here as fast as he can. So Hanuman, he gave that message to Rama, and he told him that he has to start formulating, articulating a design, a plan to go to Lanka to rescue Sita Devi. So Rama, in mixed emotions, he was very happy. At the same time, he was very sad, missing his beloved wife Sita Devi. But he was very, very grateful to Hanuman, and he appreciated what Hanuman has done. So at that point, actually, Sundarakanda ends. But I have to make a note of the beginning of Ayodhyakanda. I will tell this again in the beginning of Ayodhyakanda. So after appreciating what Hanuman has done, Rama said, normally I try to repay my appreciation or whoever has helped me. Pranavi, please do not do anything with the screen. Please refrain from doing anything. It is distracting other users and other audience. Thank you. So normally I pay somebody by giving them back something. Sugriva, I gave him his kingdom by killing Vali. Vibhishana, he's going to help him in some other way. So Viradha, he helped him by relieving him from a curse. Kabanda, he helped him by relieving him from a curse. So everybody, he helps them and gets some help back in return. But with you, Hanuman, I cannot repay you for this help that you have done. I am going to digest this help. I'm going to say to myself that Hanuman has helped me and I can never repay him. And I'm going to embrace you and I am going to hug you for the help that you have done with love and with appreciation. A great moment of real humility and humbleness of Rama also. Even though he was a king, that is how he appreciates and that is how he gives respect and love to his subordinates. Hanuman is his subordinate at that point, right? Even though they're equals in our prayers, his subordinate, and he respected him with a warm embrace. In one of the verses of Hanuman Chalisa, which we are going to do now, Tulasidas has mentioned the great soldiers and associates of Vishnu, like Adisesha, the big snake that Vishnu sits on. He's very, very jealous and he's very appreciative of Hanuman that he was able to get a hug from, warm embrace from Rama. That is one of the verses in Hanuman Chalisa. So that is the great episode. This is one of the great moments of Ramayana, the embrace of Rama and Hanuman, and how Rama articulated his appreciation to Hanuman. So that is the beginning of Ayodhyakanda. I just had to mention it, the great moment. I'm going to mention this again when we start Ayodhyakanda next week. So with that, we will conclude the story segment of this session. And we are going to do the recital. I know we are going to be a little over time. Please bear with me. It's only going to take 5 minutes. So let's do the recital. Aditi, you wanted to lead the session today. So if you're here, please unmute yourself and we can get started with the recital. Aditi, are you available in the session? Okay, no worries. Anybody else interested in leading the session?
I am.
Okay, Shrika, go ahead and you can get started. Unmute yourself, and everybody else, please stay on mute. And Shrika, if you need any help, I will help you out.
I do need help.
No problem. Let's do it together. Get started.
Okay.
Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raj Nijamana Mukura Sudhari Varanau Raghuvara Vimalayash Jodayaka Falachari Buddhihina Tanujanike Sumiro Pavana Kumare Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesha Vikare Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar Jai Kapishati Huloka Ujagar रामदूत अतुलितबलधाम अञ्जनिपुत्रपवनसुतनाम महावीरविक्रम बजरङ्गी कुमतिनिवारसुमतिके सङ्गी कञ्चनवर्णविराजसुवेश काननकुण्डलकुञ्चितकेश हातव